Grand National North Series. The fastest track they race on is here in Dover, Delaware, the Dover International Speedway. And today it's the MBNA Race Points 150. Just 3 races remain to decide a champion. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Hawkwood along with Pat Patterson. We welcome you to Busch Grand National North Series Racing here on Speed. Pat, we've got a great points chase going, but the 3-time champion, Andy Santerre, is the guy they got to catch. 33 points his lead over Mike Stefanik.
And the key for Andy today is just don't make mistakes. Get out there and get as much as you possibly can. If you can run up front, lead the race, great. But if you have to settle for second or third, you want to keep in mind what's going on in the points, and that's what he's going to have to work on today.
And you're going to have to watch out for a youngster today, Ryan Moore. He's on the pole. He is 58 points behind Santerre in the standings. He wants to make a charge towards the championship today.
Well, not only that, but he wants to make a statement to his DEI crew, which is supplying him with all the parts and pieces. Anything less than a win for Ryan Moore today, it ain't really going to feel very good when he walks away from this racetrack. He's got to win today. He's got to do it for DEI, and he's got to do it for the points.
Ryan Moore is on the pole. We'll have the rest of the starting grid for you. And the green flag from here in Dover, it's the MBNA Race Points 150. Coming up next here on Speed. Today's race is the MBNA Race Points 150, 150 laps, 150 miles around this Monster Mile racetrack. Let's take a look now at the starting grid, and Scarborough, Maine's Ryan Moore is on the pole. Eddie McDonald, another youngster alongside him, and he is about ready to break out in a race. Today could be the day.
Second row, Ryan Seaman in a Chevrolet. That's the 06. Matt Kovaluk trying to bounce back from an accident last week. He'll start in outside row 2 in the number 40.
And the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year is Sean Case. He's only 19 years old, and he's starting on row 3. Alongside him, Tim Andrews. That's the son of Paul Andrews, who's been around Nextel Cup Series for quite a while.
Mike Johnson in the 96. That's a Ford. He'll go inside of that row with the 21 of Rogelio Lopez. He also is in a Chevrolet.
Mike Gallo, part-time runner on this series, but when he runs here, he always runs well. And starting alongside him, Brian Hoare in a Dodge out of Williston, Vermont.
Row number 6, Dale Quarterly, welcome back. Last year's race winner here in a Chevrolet, looking for good things this afternoon. And the 99 of Brian Chu.
A couple of main drivers on row 7. Tracy Gordon has 12 wins in the series, and our points leader, Andy Santerre, he's out of Cherryfield, Maine.
Row number 8, Brett Thompson joining us, and Teddy Christopher, last week's winner up in New England.
Mike Stefanik starting back in the pack a bit on row 9, and Donnie Neuenberger, his first race in this North Series.
Joe Messina there in the 09, and Jerry Marquis starts number 52 in row 10.
Jeff Anton, who is a protege of Dale Quarterly. Dale Shaw, former champion in this series on the 11th row.
Joey McCarthy in the 8th, that's a Chevy, and Claire Zimmerman will also start outside row number 12 in the 24th spot.
Dion Ciccarelli and Mike Olson had to take a provisional spot. He's back in row 13.
There's Kip Stockwell in the 16 Chevrolet, and John Salemi in a Pontiac. That's the number 63.
Jack Zellers comes over from the West Series, got a provisional spot. Scott Booley also with a provisional starting spot in this race. Now, Joey McCarthy, Jeff Anton, and Massessa are all going back to the back to start this race. Let's go down to Candace Crew.
Well, guys, I spoke to Matt Kovaluk, who, of course, as you mentioned, is starting 4th on the grid today. I spoke to him after qualifying yesterday, was, of course, pleased with his run during qualifying. He said the car is even better. In his words, he said the car is awesome in the long runs. And I asked him about this racetrack, and he said, you know what, Candace, on this track, you've just got to be fast. You've got to stay up on the wheel and pay attention every moment. And, of course, Pat, you mentioned earlier that he had an accident last week in New Hampshire and ended at the end of the pack. He's hoping to rebound this weekend. Guys?
Well, yeah, he needs to. And finished 33rd in that race at New Hampshire, and it really put him back in the points. There are only 3 races remaining in this series, and only the top 3 are within 100 points, and it's going to be tough for him to make up ground as Kovaluk's now 135 points behind Andy Santerre in the standings. There's Joey McCarthy. He had to make an engine change. He has had more motor troubles this year. Actually, they were borrowing a motor from Andy Santerre's team, and because of the motor change, he is going to have to start back in the back.
Yeah, but he made the Cup race last weekend up in New England, up at the New Hampshire International Speedway. So he had a lot of fun racing up there, and I think he was out there trying to make the Cup race today. I wasn't sure if he made it or not. I don't think he did, but nevertheless, the 8-car, Joey McCarthy having some fun.
Yeah, he ran the whole day in that Cup race and gave a good account of himself. Joey McCarthy, who's had a tough season in this sport, 16th in the point standings, and that's a little further back than he's been the last couple of years. We see the cars double file. We are about ready to go green, 150 laps. This, the fastest track these guys run on. And Pat, I've talked to a lot of guys who are having trouble getting the handle on this racetrack.
Well, you're in the corner here for a long time, so you're always on that wheel, sawing on it, trying to keep control of the car, and at the same time trying to get back in that throttle. I got my belts pulled good and tight. My spotter says we're ready to go. My crew chief says he's ready to go. I think we're ready to go at Dover.
I know I am. The green flag is out here at the Dover International Speedway. Look at Ryan Moore. Good start for him.
The cars got real squirrely there when we first started in the first 4 or 5 spots. That kind of opened the field up there.
Ryan Moore jumps out to the front there, back of the pack. There's Dale Quarterly in that yellow 32 of Rogelio Lopez in the 21 out of Mexico right in front of him. And there's your points leader, Andy Santerre. We'll keep an eye on how he makes his charge up through the field. Santerre starting in the 14th position.
Mike, this is a big Bristol. You got to be aggressive from the very get-go here. You need to get in the gas, and you really need to keep up because things happen very fast here. Excuse me. So you really do need to be aggressive behind the wheel, even in the early goings here, because it's going to be harder and harder to pass people as the race goes on.
In fact, the first 20 cars here are absolutely single file going around this racetrack. Ryan Moore, your leader, and right behind him, Eddie McDonald, then it's Matt Kovaluk, and Tim Andrews, Ryan Seaman, your top 5. There's Tim Andrews in that 9 car. He was on the pole here in this race a year ago.
You mentioned his father, Paul Andrews, who, of course, is the crew chief over with Petty Enterprises. Paul was over there in the garage for about half the day trying to get that car to where it would turn and measuring every little thing he could on Tim's car. I think they've got a good race car for this afternoon.
Already bad news for one of the competitors in the field. Neuenberger is down onto the pit lane. He's having a tough day. Donnie Neuenberger, but not Ryan Moore. Moore is really hooked up here early in this race. You're watching NASCAR Grand National North Series racing on Speed. We'll be back in just a moment. Still under green here at Dover International Speedway. You see the number 5 car there on the right of your screen. That is Sean Case, only 19 years old. What a year he has had. And there's Kovaluk running 3rd.
Yeah, that 5 car is coming hard. The car really sticks at the bottom. Look how he can stay right there. He had to check up a little bit because the 9 came down, but Sean Case is on the move.
You consider this guy's only had a driver's license for 3 years. Ran partial tour on the modified series last year. Decided that's not where he wanted to be. So he teamed up with Barney McRae. Barney McRae drove that car last year. McRae now the crew chief. There's Jack Sellers already going a lap down. Sellers has had a tough time finding some speed at this racetrack. Got in on a provisional. I'm not sure he's going to be able to keep the minimum speed here. And Ryan Moore, look at the distance now between 1st and 2nd place. You see on your screen, Ryan Moore is just flat out hooked up.
I think Tim Andrews isn't going to wait much longer on Kovaluk. Kovaluk's going to have to move or be moved here pretty quick.
Sean Case is coming on strong too in that 5 car.
Well, see, that's the problem too. The 9 of Tim Andrews can't really wait on Kovaluk because Case is breathing down his neck, and every time the 9 gets a good run on that 40 car there, it seems like he's got to check up a little bit. Now Sean Case is going to dive up under the 9.
Tim Andrews out of Concord, North Carolina. As we told you, his dad has been a crew chief, actually a championship crew chief in the Nexo Cup Series, and he just gets passed by the 19-year-old Sean Case. He's talking about Case's season. He won the pole and led early in the race at the Motor Mile in Radford, Virginia. First time this series has been there, and Case put on a show for a while in that race. His problem has been finishing. He's looked good in a lot of races early. It's been in that mid to late stages that he's faded, but he is strong now. Case wants the inside. He wants to get by Kovaluk. This is the battle for third place.
Nice run down to the bottom of the racetrack, and that gives him plenty of room. Gets a spot. The thing that Sean Case has got to realize is that we're on lap 14 of 150, Mike. And I'm going to tell you something. A lot of times when you see a guy come by everybody like that, just hang loose, because he'll be coming right back at you when those tires start getting worn away.
But Pat, you got to admit, this guy has a ton of talent.
No question. Sean
Case, his best finish so far this year has been a 6th at Waterford. He's got 3 top 10s this year. Tracy Gordon in the 33 was so strong last week in New Hampshire, and Gordon has moved up to the 12th position, make that 11th as he's passed Rogelio Lopez now. Set his sights on Mike Gallo in the top 10. Tracy Gordon, who his best finish here was a 5th place in 2002. And you're wondering about our points leader? Well, he's taking his time, but right now he's in 7th place. Ryan Seaman, that 06 he's going by, that's the battle for 6th. So Andy Santerre, who started 14th, is about to take the 6th position as he squeezes by Ryan Seaman. You had a feeling that Santerre, even though he didn't qualify all that well, was going to be able to drive on this racetrack. He's got as much experience here as anybody else. Matter of fact, I saw people coming to him in the garage all day yesterday asking him how you get around this racetrack.
Run a lot of regular Busch Series races here, and of course all the Busch North races that he has run here as well. As you take a look back at Ryan Moore, that just notice his car just bobbled it right in the middle of the corner there a moment ago. I don't know if it's driving as well as he would want it to right now.
And after Eddie McDonald caught him, he has fallen off the pace a bit. Tim Andrews going by him. That's the battle for 3rd place. Sean Case has taken over 2nd. And look at Jack Sellers. Oh, my goodness.
Split the difference there. That's scary.
Well, you see how far behind Sellers is. Out of Sacramento, California. That's a long trip to come out here and be 4 or 5 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, but he might be doing good in the casino. You never know. I mean, they do have a casino here. The race is just more or less some kind of an intermission for that. In fact, Jack, I think, is coming to the pit road right now to figure out what's wrong with his car.
Well, we'll see if Sellers might have gotten a black flag for not having the minimum speed. I'm not sure, but we'll check on that. Anyway, Jack Sellers, who's 61 years old. Look how far he drove to be here. Cowboy Jack, they call him. Always has that cowboy hat on. Been in the West Series for 21 seasons, and I think he is going to park it and say, hey, I had a good time running a few laps.
Back to the poker table.
That's it.
5 car starting to lean on the 74 pretty hard back here. Sean Case is once again mounting a charge, if you will, on the leader. And a bunch of lap cars up ahead. This ought to be interesting.
Now, there's a big differential in speed in the top 20 cars and those behind it. That is Dion Ciccarelli in the 84. He's out of Severn, Maryland.
You know, these guys make it look easy when they drive around these cars that we call lap cars that aren't up to speed and aren't as competitive as these front runners. But let me tell you something. Anytime you have to move your race car outside of that groove that you really prefer and is getting you around the track quicker, when you deviate from that line, you just never quite know how your car is going to react. And Mike Olson, I can't believe how bad. Of course, Olson told me they've changed everything on it. That's the yellow car I'm talking about right in front. He's in danger now of going a lap down, but the caution flag's out.
Yellow is out. I'm not sure I can see what it's about. We understand. Well, I'm not exactly. There it is, Rogelio Lopez. Looks like he's got some damage on the right front there.
Contact with the monster, as they'd say.
Rogelio Lopez, part of NASCAR's diversity program out of Mexico. Felix Sabates heads that up and is responsible for hooking him up with Troy Williams, who owns that 21 car. We'll try to see what happened to Rogelio.
Ooh, that'll leave a mark. That hurt. I mean, his car just never turned. Boom, and that's about 160 mile an hour or 100, yeah, at least 160 mile an hour hit right there.
Brings out our first caution of the day. NASCAR safety crews out to check on Rogelio. Let's hope he's okay.
I see him undoing his helmet there. That's a good sign.
Landy Santerre, who came into this race with a 33-point lead with 3 races remaining. His teammate Mike Stefanik is in second place. But it has been Ryan Moore, third in the point standings, who has led every lap of this race. We are under caution in the MBNA race points 150. I'll tell you what, while Andy Santerre is running well, his teammate Mike Stefanik has been struggling. A number of top cars came down on pit road, including Mike Gallo, Dale Quarterly, Ted Christopher, Jerry Marquis, and Mike Stefanik. What's the story, Candace?
Well, guys, I spoke to Mike's crew chief, Jerry Babb. He said that they, of course, took some fuel and took a spring rubber out of the right rear. He said they're running really loose everywhere. He said they came into this race knowing that they were going to have to pit a lot today because they're just not happy with the car. They made the car very adjustable because of that reason. He said he anticipates they'll pit at least 4 times just to get the car where they want it to be, guys.
All right, Candace, and Stefanik now posted in the 14th position. There are 20 cars are on the lead lap, or 18 rather. Dion Ciccarelli is the last car on the lead lap. He was the beneficiary, if you will.
One other footnote, too, on Stefanik's car. That was a car that it ran so well here, and they didn't touch that car since it really left Dover the last time. That car ended up getting back here with all kinds of issues when they tried to bring it through tech, so they weren't really happy with it, and he is struggling early with it.
And, Pat, by the way, this is a fast racetrack, but sometimes too fast on pit road. I count 5 cars who had to do pass-through penalties because of speeding on pit road, and among them Ted Christopher, who won our race a week ago in New Hampshire. Going green after our first caution of the day here on lap 30.
Tell you what, Sean Case might just jump out in front of that 74.
And I think Ryan Moore is going to let him go. The young rookie, Sean Case, takes it to the front here. He leads for the first time today. Case out of Pelham, New Hampshire. He said his best finish on a short track at Waterford, 6th. His other top 10s were at Lake Erie and at Stafford Speedway. But Sean Case, wow, he has never run a race at Dover, Delaware, this Speedway before. And he's looked like he's been coming here for years the way he's taken it around this track.
Well, I hope he's got somebody good in his ear spotting for him and talking to him, because it's one thing to follow somebody around this racetrack and run second. It's another thing to lead a race here. You know, you can really hurt yourself if you're not careful by either burning up your equipment or getting ahead of yourself. And hopefully somebody is coaching Sean Case right now, giving him his lap times and letting him get into a rhythm around here so that he doesn't burn his stuff up and just end up sliding backwards again.
You saw that red 45 car. That is Brian Hoare. He was holding off. Eddie McDonald, Andy Santerre held all that pack off for a moment. Now he sets his sights on Matt Kobaluk. Kobaluk's in 4th. Santerre's in 5th. Matt Kobaluk, who has had 2 bad finishes this year. Other than that, he's been in the top 3 in every race.
Those 2 bad finishes really hurt him in the points, so they really did. Not finishing one of these races, even if it's a few laps down, is just a death nail when it comes to trying to race for the championship.
There were 10 races into the season, 3 remain. This race, the road course in Lime Rock, Connecticut, and then a makeup race, if you will, in Thompson, Connecticut. And Santerre wants that position.
Yeah, he watched Kobaluk kind of bobble it off of 2 a moment ago. Watch and see if that isn't what he does right here. Kobaluk's car wanted to push up kind of in the middle. Let's see if he goes up the racetrack again. Yeah, not as bad as it did a minute ago, but Santerre's still racing underneath him.
Andy Santerre, who is the team manager for 3 teams, including the 44 he drives for, also Mike Stefanik and Brad Layton's team. And he has won 3 series championships in a row. Now Brian Hoare wants a piece of Matt Kobaluk.
He's trying to hang on to Santerre as Kobaluk's car again starting to wear away on him.
Brian Hoare with 1 win in this series in his career. 5 times the champion in the American Canadian Tour Series.
And that is the American Red Cross on the front of his car. And Hurricane Katrina and Rita bearing down and working over our good friends in the Gulf. They're trying to do what they can to raise money. Here comes a pass for the lead.
Ryan Moore says, hey, Sean, you've led long enough. And how about Ryan Moore? He can call Sean Case a kid. Ryan Moore's 21, Sean's 19.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard when you're young and you haven't led races on big speedways to just get comfortable being out front. Ryan Moore's got a lot more experience at being out front, and it may be better for Sean Case right now to ride behind him.
Neither Sean or Ryan have experienced a lot of success here. Ryan Moore's best finish in this race has been 14th. That was last year. Sean Case has never run here before in the 5. Now Tim Andrews in 3rd place. That's a different story. He was on the pole here a year ago. Candace, I know you're impressed with that youngster just like we are. Sean Case putting on a show here.
He certainly is, and you know who else is impressed is his crew chief, Barney McRae, who I'm joined with right now. Barney, what all has Sean said about the car so far?
Well, hey, Candace, of course, we got in the wall a couple times, and once in qualifying, once in practice, and we've been working hard on the car. Haven't had a chance to make any adjustments. Probably a good thing. Seems like it's going pretty good. We want to do a good job. We got Casella Waste Systems on the car for the 2nd week, and they're going to be on with us for the rest of the year. So it's, I think they're going to be very happy.
Well, I know the Monster Mile can be a little bit intimidating for these drivers to begin with, especially if you have some accidents and get into the wall, but it certainly doesn't look like Sean's being defeated by that.
I don't think that anything intimidates Sean. I really don't.
I'll tell you what, though, he just got intimidated.
I mean, he really has a good knack for the car, and he just wants to do it.
Thanks, Barney. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Candace.
Sorry to interrupt you, Candace. That was unbelievable. Tim Andrews goes to the front. And I think the fact that none of those cars is in the wall is absolutely amazing. Ryan Moore may have had a little damage on that car. They all got knocked around just a little bit. Tim Andrews out of North Carolina is your new leader. And right as Barney McRae was saying he wasn't going to be intimidated, Ryan Moore was putting a little bumper to him. Let's watch and see what happens here.
So much speed into the corner, sometimes a guy will be in front of you and you go, oh no, I'm on him. And then you try to back off a little bit. And what happens is that car on the outside says, oh, door's open, I'm going in. He gets into Moore going into 1 and almost turns him around. Then the 3 of them almost get together there.
Unbelievable. I think Ryan Moore had to just take a deep breath, lift a little bit, regroup.
Watch this. He gets into Ryan Moore right there, turns him sideways. Great car control by the 74. The 9 says, oh, I got to steam my way through this right now. Watch Moore go down. He hits him again, bounces him off the concrete, and somehow Ryan Moore hangs on to it.
Now, Barney McRae was talking about Sean Case in practice, in qualifying rather. He smacked up against the wall, so that car had a little damage going into the race. But now Tim Andrews is out in front. Wow. Oh, my goodness. We all have to take a breath now. And you see Andy Santerre through all of that. Santerre has moved up to 3rd.
Oh, Eddie McDonald.
Moore is 4th. And Eddie McDonald's.
Something's wrong.
He had been running in the top 5 all day long. The yellow is out. 2nd time today, caution is out here in the MBNA race points, 150. Eddie McDonald looks like he's got the car refired. And it doesn't look from here like he hit anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I think the right front tire's got issues, but I'm not sure.
Look again, well, something came off of that car. You can see it flying off the rear. And he's going to come down to the attention of his crew.
I can't tell if that was debris just kicking up there or what was going on with this race car.
Something might have broken on the 77 car, and that's been the story of Eddie McDonald's season. He has had several moments where he's run out front, run very strong, and then something breaks on the car. It's just been up and down all year long. Boy, to reset the field for you, it's a bunch of youngsters up front, and then the veteran Andy Santerre. It's Tim Andrews, Sean Case, Andy Santerre, Ryan Moore, and Brian Hoare. That's your top 5. And pit road is open, and as you see, a number of cars. Let's see who's going to be coming down onto the pit lane now. Any of our leaders, Stefanik, as Candace told us, will be coming back down again. They'll make more adjustments on that car. Dale Quarterly is in. Brian Chu is among those down. Mike Olson, who has not been running well today and has actually gone a lap down. Ted Christopher, they're trying to get some more speed out of that car. He has not been happy with that all weekend. And there you see the crew going to work on Mike Stefanik's car. Stefanik coming into this race just 33 points behind Andy Santerre in the race for the championship. And Santerre with a solid top 5 run going. Stefanik's got some work to do. Mike's 47 years old, out of Coventry, Rhode Island. Been a champion in this series twice. They're taking their time on the 55 car.
Yeah, like I said, Mike, earlier, they've just been struggling with that race car since they got it here. A lot of different issues, and they're just obviously don't want to lose, or they want to lose as few points as they can this afternoon with it. So they are, as Candace said earlier, got a lot of adjustability built in, a lot of spring rubbers they can pull out, things that they can change to try to get the car to drive better.
Eddie McDonald taking it to the garage right now. Under caution at Dover International Speedway. We'll be going back green flag this time around.
Be interesting to see how aggressive Ryan Moore here is on the start. That's the outside of the second row, 74. Been our leader for quite a bit of this race so far. Let's see what kind of race plan he goes back with these young guys up front.
Tim Andrews leads them to the line. And right away, Santerre putting a lot of pressure on. And again, only lead lap cars up front in this series on the restarts. Santerre is going to motor into second place. Gets past Ryan Moore, past Sean Case. Sean Case, meanwhile, has gone past Tim Andrews for the lead. Well, Sean Case has shown no fluke today, being up front out of Pelham, New Hampshire. And again, he has never run here at Dover before. And it didn't take him long to adapt to this racetrack.
Well, he got a taste of that a little while ago, that running up front, leading the race. And, you know, sometimes you get back there and you think about it for a few minutes, run behind the leader again, come back and say, you know what, I kind of liked it out there. I think I'll go back and try it again, get some more experience running up front.
I think a lot of these guys, particularly Santerre, have your philosophy, Pat. It is still fairly early in this race. We're not to halfway yet.
And Tim Andrews' car got just about stepped out on him coming off the floor a second ago.
20 laps now before we get to the halfway point.
His car's still stepping out on him. Andrews has got some issues with the handle on the 9 car right now.
Talking to Andy Santerre yesterday, and Andy says one of the keys in this race is being able to drive this track on older tires. Remember, these are bias ply tires. And he says there's no way to keep that car stuck down on the bottom when you get on these older tires. And I think it's one of the reasons at the halfway point, everybody is going to be trying to get some fresh rubber.
Well, again, one of the advantages of having a lot of laps on this racetrack is the confidence of knowing that I can go out to a different groove on the racetrack, and I'm not going to put myself in jeopardy. I know where I'm going. I've been there before. I've got that feel. A young guy who just came here may stick to the bottom of the racetrack and go, well, I can't get off of this groove because it's the only place that I have any confidence that my car can go. He's going to get past.
Sean Case has stayed out front on old tires. Again, we're getting to the point where guys are really going to be wanting some new tires. But under caution, you can only take 2 at a time. Tracy Gordon in that 33 has made a move. He's up to 6 now. He's gotten past Matt Kovaluk. Brian Hoare right in front of Gordon. Gordon out of strong Maine. 12 wins in the series. That's tied for 7th all time with Mike Stefanik. Best Dover finish was a 5th in 2002. For various reasons, this series did not race here at Dover in 1999, 2000, or 2003.
Tracy Gordon on the move there. Trying to move anyway.
Ryan Moore, I think he's driving a really smart race right now, hanging in there in the top 5, running 4th. Now Tracy Gordon battling for 5th place. What a battle between Gordon and Brian Hoare. That's the battle for 5th.
Those flames will make your car go faster.
They must.
You ask any 6-year-old, they'll tell you that.
Ryan Moore right in front of them. Candace, how's Ryan doing right now?
Well, they're reporting that the car is very loose right now, which explains why he's moved back to the 4th position, Mike.
Yeah, and Candace, I think part of that might be those old tires, too. I think Ryan Moore really wants some new tires on that car.
All the rest of those guys in front of him have got the same issues right now. They're all racing on the same tires they started with. So it'll be interesting. If we get a caution in the next 20 laps or so, I think you're going to see all of those guys duck in to get those fresh tires.
We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to the MBNA Race Points 150 at Dover International Speedway. Up front again, and Andy Santerre running second right now, but I don't think it's going to be too long before he decides he might put a little move on the young rookie and try to lead, because remember, it's all about points.
Andy worked for 2 days this week to get that car that you see running second into shape for this racetrack. Got a lot of things he had to do to it, in the mix of having to get Brad Layton's car and Stefanik's car ready, as he's going to pass him for the lead, Mike.
Lap 65, write it down. That's the lap that Andy Santerre takes the lead away from Sean Case. 65 laps it took him from starting in 14th spot. You knew he was going to be a contender today. He did not seem worried at all about starting in the middle of the pack. He knew he had a car that would drive well at this racetrack. He knew this racetrack well, and it showed here today as Santerre has taken the lead. There's Tim Andrews and Ryan Moore battling. That's for 3rd place, and Moore seems to have regathered himself. I tell you what, Ryan Moore, almost like he took a deep breath after getting knocked around a little bit, and now he has come back strong.
Well, we talked at the top of the show about the fact that 74 wasn't going to like anything other than winning today. So I think that they probably have figured out that you need to save what you got right now. We're going to make some adjustments to the race car. We're going to try to give you a piece that can get you back to the front, but the car you're driving right now is not that car. So be cautious with what you have right now. Keep up as best you can.
The 97 there, Claire Zimmerman, one of the lap cars, and Ryan Moore and Tim Andrews get by. Ryan Moore has spent this year in the developmental program at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. Tony Uri Sr. has taken him under his wing and actually has been his crew chief, will be in a couple of more Busch Series races that he's running in. He hopes to run full-time on the Busch Series next year, and a lot depends on sponsorship, but this young man has a bright future ahead of him, and certainly DEI thinks it's going to be with their organization.
There just aren't a lot of places for a young guy who's, as talented as Ryan is right now to go. And, fortunately, he's in that pipeline of developmental kids that is being looked at and scrutinized by, some of these big teams that can put him on the map, a full-time Busch ride. So he's gotten this ball as far as you can go right now. It's going to be up to now the business side of things to take him to the next step.
Tracy Gordon continues to move up as Ryan Moore, as you saw him pass Andrews. He's now in the 3rd position. Andy Santerre continues to lead, and he's building his lead, although Santerre knows pit stops will be the order probably of the next caution that we have. And what will happen on these pit stops will be very interesting, because they will take 2 tires, go around, come back in, and take 2 more. And how well these pit crews perform, who has a Busch or Nextel Cup pit crew with them, tell a story and see if Santerre and his crew can maintain it, because that will be the next order of business. We'll be back from the Dover International Speedway with more NASCAR Grand National North Series racing in just a moment. There's Brett Thompson, who has moved up now to the 7th position. You see that 8? If you follow the West Series at all, if you watch some of our races, you know that that's normally a 61. Well, they put a little tape over the 6, made it an 8. Now the 81, Tracy Gordon getting yet another position, as Tracy Gordon has now made his way into the top 5. We're at halfway. Halfway through now the MBNA Race Points 150.
Weather doesn't matter at this point. would be an official race if we had any problems. But right now, the sun's starting to shine on this beautiful 1 mile racetrack.
Late afternoon, it has been a hot, steamy day, and the hot car right now is the one with the flames on it. Tracy Gordon, he's on the move. Tim Andrews in that 9 car is in 4th position, but Tracy Gordon wants it. Gordon driving a car owned by Fred Scaff, his crew chief on the car as well. We're getting a report that there might be some gear oil leaking from Tracy Gordon. Tim Andrews is reporting to his crew that he smells it, along with a couple of other drivers. So we'll have to see if that's an effect. Maybe Candace can check with the crew there with Fred Scaff and see if something's going on with Tracy Gordon. But right now, he is flat out flying.
Well, smelling something's one thing, seeing some smoke's another.
Well, we talked about Brett Thompson a moment ago. Candace, tell you what, he's come over here to the East Coast, and he is showing something here today.
He sure has, Mike. You know, he came all the way from Idaho, and he traditionally runs the 61 car in the West Series. Today, of course, he's coming to drive the 81 car because Mike Olson already drives the 61 car in the North Series. And if you take a close look at that number, you can see where his crew used some tape to change that 6 to an 8. He's doing a great job so far today.
Well, he sure is. Brett Thompson, a native of Jerome, Idaho, got his start in racing at Magic Valley in Twin Falls, Idaho, a great little racetrack. And as we said, 6th in points in the West Series. His best race of the year has been in Irwindale in late July. He finished 3rd in that race. He's got 1 win in the West Series. That was at Bakersfield last year. One of the real nice guys, too, Brett Thompson. Fun guy to be around, talk to.
And he wants to move on. He's one of those guys that's out here hoping to get noticed. Another reason to come to Dover and race in front of the Cup guys and Busch guys is to showcase your talent, talk to some guys, walk around over there in the garage area, and, hey, I'm racing here too. Watch me this afternoon. I mean, a lot of times that's the only way you're going to get any place in this business is to try to get out and perform when the people who count are there.
Brett Thompson still just 28 years old. Sean Case, the young rookie, in 2nd place. And there's a car in the wall. It's Brian Hoare. Hoare had been running in the top 10 all day, the top 5 part of the day. And you see that right front has been crushed in. And here's the caution that everybody's been looking for. Brian Hoare just didn't want it to be him. Our 3rd caution flag of the day as his car comes to rest up against the wall.
And unfortunately, it may have been a right front tire that did that. You know, by virtue of working it that hard for 81 laps or so. You see the winning net come down. That's good to see.
Brian Hoare, who other guys had an up and down season, and this will be a downer today after having such a fast race car.
Yeah, he was already up at the top of the racetrack there, and we just saw it, and he hits it again. It's hard to tell because from that angle we just couldn't see what got him to the top of the racetrack to begin with.
Andy Santerre's pit ready to go. No, that's his own crew, and the pits are open, so this time you will see everybody. All the leaders will come down onto pit road, and that includes Andy Santerre.
And there's a speed limit. You see everybody kind of turtling along there. There's a speed limit, so you got to be careful. There's no speedometers in these cars. You have to look at your tachometer and what gear you're in to make sure you're not speeding on the pit road. But this is pretty critical stuff right here for some of these guys. So let's watch some of these pit stops.
Sean Case is already in his pit. Most of the leaders are pitting down towards turn 1. Tim Andrews is in. There's Case's car. He's had a couple of hired guns, and they did a great job on him. And as you said, Pat, in a normal Busch or Nextel Cup race, this would be it. But these guys got to go around and then come back in again.
And Ryan Moore, you see, just led that parade off the pit road. And why did that happen? Because he had that pit spot. See that very first one where those black marks are? Matt Kobolek's coming right over it right now. That's one of the advantages of being on the pole, the fastest qualifier of the races. You get to pick your pit stall. And so, therefore, he got a good pit stall there, and he was able to utilize that to beat those other 2 guys out. That was worth 2. He passed 2 cars on the pit road, in other words, that he didn't have to pass on the racetrack.
Take a look at it again as Ryan Moore beating everybody off of pit road and
making a chassis adjustment there. Comes around, he comes off. Now look, he comes right out in front of the first and second place guys.
And you know what, Pat? It doesn't hurt that he's got a full DEI crew there pitting that car.
Oh yeah. It's all about your friends, Mike. It's all about your friends.
Well, he's got to come back in, and everybody's got to do it again. This time it'll be left sides for almost everybody. Most everybody took right sides that time.
And you see all those guys on the pit road, he said, hey, those guys down there beat us. Come on, we got to go faster this time. And that's when you can create problems for yourself, too. Get in there if you're a pit crew guy. Get those lugs off. Get that tire back up on there. Do your thing and do it the way you know how to do it. Don't try to be Superman here.
There's Sean Case, Andy Santerre. Now that's his own crew. Not a hired crew pitting in this time.
Let's see here. Yep, there again, the 74 gets out ahead of time. There comes Andy. Sean Case had a little bit more trouble that time. Kovalek's going to beat him out another couple of cars as well.
Whoa, we've just gotten word from NASCAR. Andy Santerre speeding on pit road. He knew that Ryan Moore was beating him out for pit road. He tried to hustle the car a little bit, got caught for speeding. That means he's going to have to go to the tail. Oh, what a tough break now for Andy Santerre. But we are on lap 88. There is still time. Well, the pace car's now down onto the pit lane, and we are ready to go back. Green flag racing. Complete. Everybody now's got fuel and tires to go the distance.
Ryan Moore's got a roadblock in front of him, 2 cars wide.
Now remember, Thompson and Gordon are only going with new tires on the right side. They've got old left sides on. Ryan Moore has got 4 fresh tires. He is going to be faster.
Oh, Tracy Gordon got sideways and almost took the field out. Wow, what a close call that was for the entire field. And
Gordon's
somebody
got
may have
damage.
A tire rub. Yes, somebody's got a tire rub.
That is Tracy Gordon, who's got some sheet metal hanging out, and I think might have a tire rub. Ryan Moore is going to go to the front and take the lead. But you're right, Pat. What a close call for Tracy Gordon.
And Brett Thompson's car, I think, got some damage on the right rear of it. See, that's where the tire. Yeah, that's where the tire rub I was seeing came from. Watch this now as Tracy Gordon bounces off the wall, bounces into the 74. Kovalek checks up, and that's where the damage comes from there on Tracy Gordon's right rear. That's Kovalek just clipping his car. I mean, it must be some debris down here.
Well, there was some debris that came off of Brett Thompson's car.
Oh, and here we got another problem.
Zimmerman's in the wall in the 97. So it was not a clean restart at all, and Tracy Gordon is down on pit road, and they're not moving very fast around that car. We'll see again what happened behind Ryan Moore. Boy, there you see the piece of car, just exhaust pipe flying off of Brett Thompson's car. You know, Brett Thompson, they've been through it since they got there. That car didn't pass inspection.
Oh, this is going to be bad. Oh. That's the one that got Claire right there. He ran right over the top of it when it was just in midair. Boom. Ouch. These race cars do not react well to hitting anything on the racetrack. Even a little bit of tire that may come off.
Well, that's the reason we throw the yellow flag when there's any kind of debris out there. Claire Zimmerman out of Denver, Pennsylvania. Under caution at Dover International Speedway. All right, here we go. Ryan Moore, Sean Case, the 2 youngsters who put on such a great show today. Moore in the 74, Case in the 5, starting side by side. Watch out for that 40, Matt Kovalek. He's been hanging around all day, and now he's running 3rd.
Oh, the 8 car is pretty good shape there, too. Joey McCarthy, even though he's a little out of sequence pit-wise, still has got himself up into the top 5 right now. Starts on the outside of row 2.
Joey McCarthy continues to show me a lot of talent. 32 years old, and sometimes doesn't have the car other guys have, but gets the most out of his equipment. Back under green. And Case and Moore are side by side here. They've been that way a lot today. Case just does not want to give in. Matt Kobaluk hanging around right behind him in 3rd. As you said, Joey McCarthy 4th, and Tim Andrews still running strong in that black 9. He is 5th.
That 3rd car in line there, the orange car, that's Matt Kobaluk. He's getting a good look at those front 2, just trying to size them up. Where are they good? Where can he work his car to his advantage to try to catch the 2 of them? Right now, they're pulling away from him, though, horsepower-wise down the straightaway.
The car on the move is that white car behind Kobaluk. That was Teddy Christopher.
Yellow
Caution is back out again.
The 26 car has contacted the monster.
Scott Booley.
And there's Kip Stockwell, too, in the 16. Wind net's down there, so that's a good sign. Driver moving around there in the race car, getting his helmet off.
Yeah, the official word, pit road is closed, but I think if you have to come down pit road now, you're in big trouble. Booley was already into the wall. That was Joe Massessa in the 09 who got together with Stockwell. Massessa kept on going. He's got some damage on the right front of his car, but Stockwell got into the wall. And there is Booley. And watch this. Just not easy to drive that car with the right front right that.
He's trying to do everything he can to drive it.
And it should be some finish because we have got a couple of youngsters up front. Young guns who I think are going to be around this sport for a long, long time. Ryan Moore, 21 years old. Sean Case, just 19. They're the top 2 right now in the MBNA Race Points 150. We'll be back to the Dover International Speedway in just a moment. Welcome back to the MBNA Race Points 150 at Dover International Speedway. This track has really cooled off. There's a big cloud over the track. Almost hard to see out there.
Some guys may have put a dark shield on their helmet. Look at Sean Case going to the whip early there. He gets around to 74.
We were talking about it before. The youngster Sean Case, he has been in this position many times before, but he somehow has always found problem in the last few laps of the race. We'll see if he can hold it together. Here comes Santerre. By the way, just got word Joe Massessa has been black flagged. He's got some sheet metal hanging off. He was running back in the pack a couple of laps down.
Boy, Andy Santerre is getting aggravated now. Kobaluk's holding him up. 36 is holding the 40 down to the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Tim Andrews. That's a mess right there, folks. Hang on. That could get real good off the corner. Somebody's got to give here.
That white 35 car, that is Ted Christopher, who won in New Hampshire.
Ooh, boy, that was tight.
And look who made the pass. It's Andy Santerre.
Had to. Leaders are getting away on him.
Andy Santerre now in 4th place. What a move. So Santerre actually now posted in the 3rd position behind Ryan Moore. So Sean Case, Ryan Moore, and then it's Andy Santerre. Tim Andrews and Matt Kobaluk side by side now, battling for the 5th spot, and Andrews will get it.
His car, the 9 car there, just got around him, handling a lot better at the bottom of the racetrack.
The yellow car of Dale Cortley right behind them. Tim Andrews, another youngster who's put on an impressive performance here today. There's Quarterly.
I think Quarterly got into something up here on the right front of his car. It looks a little off to me. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but no, he's got a little bit of something that he's run into there. I don't know if that happened in that particular stop or not, but I didn't notice it when he lined up a few minutes ago.
Different look, new sponsor for the Quarterly car. Brand new body on that car coming into this race. And again, Dale Quarterly won this event last year. Now I think Ryan Moore getting a little racing. Wants to test the youngster.
Well, he knows Andy Santerre is coming, and that's key. You can't ride for many laps here. You got to work around this guy pretty quick if you've got the car to do something.
And Ryan Moore looks like he's going to get around Sean Case here. He has got the fastest car on the racetrack, and here comes Santerre. But no matter what happens to Sean Case, he has been impressive for a 19-year-old today.
Did you see, though, how much just that pass allowed Andy Santerre to catch up? Just that exchange between the 5 and the 44. You know, Santerre's coming in a hurry now, but just that pass right there, Ryan Moore knew he needed to go and go fast.
Well, you heard Andy Santerre tell us he thinks if he can catch up and get behind Ryan Moore, he might have something for him. He's got about 30 laps to do that.
Which is plenty of time here at Dover. That's a long time to work around here, and just, you know, what he can't have happen right now is what's going on. Can't be held up. I got to get around you. I got to go, and I got to go now. And I think Sean Case moved up and gave him the spot.
Smart move by Sean Case, who knew that Santerre was faster. Sean Case, who his first trip to Dover, if he can come home with a top 5, I think he'll be ecstatic.
It'll be a great day for him. Really good day.
We'll be back with more NASCAR Grand National North Series racing on Speed. Still under green here at Dover International Speedway. And you were talking about Santerre a moment ago, and I think he's really debating, especially if he wins the championship again this year, whether or not he might retire as a driver after this season and just be a manager.
Well, I asked him about that, and, you know, the folks that own that whole outfit are just tickled to death with, in fact, Andy told me, said they haven't had as much fun in 5 years having all these cars that he works with and so forth, Stefanik, Leighton himself, and so they're having a good time, even talking about maybe adding another car. And I looked at Andy and I said, "You're kidding me, right?" He said, "What I'm not kidding you about is we're going to have a bunch more people to work on them. They've only got 6 guys working on 3 cars full time."
And their shops, of course, are based in North Carolina, right across the street from the Lowe's Motor Speedway. And that's a long haul to every race. And this is about as short a trip as they have, except for the race in Virginia. They spend a lot of time on the road.
Well, getting down to 20 to go here. Andy's got to do some real catching up if he wants to have a shot at the leader.
Tim Andrews taking over 4th place, getting by Ted Christopher. TC in that 35 has struggled with the car all weekend, but in the late stages of the race, they actually got that car pretty good. But young Tim Andrews with his dad Paul as the crew chief seems poised for a top 5 run here today. Mike Gallo in the 88 has had some good runs in the past, now running 12th. Mike Olson, who had a provisional starting spot today in that 61, is now 13th, and I think a top 15 for him would be a victory of sorts.
Mike just,
all the problems they had.
Mike just wants to see that car looking just like you see it right now roll up on his truck. That's what he wants to see. Has not had a good weekend here at all.
Mike Gallo, of course, in the construction business up in Sanford, Maine. Done well in the races that he's running. Finished 5th in this race a year ago. Not today. Today, the class of the field, Ryan Moore and Andy Santerre, Sean Case, and Tim Andrews. Boy, here goes Quarterly and trying to chase down Matt Kobaluk. Kobaluk is in 6th place, and Quarterly loved to catch up to him and give him a battle.
working around the lap traffic, and again, it'll be interesting to see if our leaders end up having to face any of this lap traffic before we get to the finish.
You see that 06 car right behind Quarterly? That car has run a great race today, and maybe the best race of the season for Ryan Seaman, who was the Rookie of the Year in this series last year. He's been noticed a whole lot this year. Had a top 10 in Adirondack. Actually had a top 10 last week at New Hampshire. Ran 9th.
Came real close to running into the 32 there. Needs to be real careful about picking his way around Dale Quarterly.
Right now, he's poised for his best finish of the year. Matter of fact, if he finishes 8th, which is where he is right now, it would be the best of his career. So it has been a great day for Ryan Seaman from Toms River, New Jersey, and he's only 22 years old. So there's some great young drivers in this series. Ryan Moore continues to lead. Remember, he sat on the pole, and it was the pit stops at the halfway point that really got him going. But Andy Santerre seems to be gaining some ground on him. Candace, are they worried in that 74 pit? Oh, there's going to be a caution out. We'll get to Candace in a moment as Jerry Marquis has hit the wall, and you see the flames erupt underneath the car. Look how quick that window net is down, and you will see Marquis get out of there in a hurry. That steering wheel came off.
Quickly.
Oh, it's tough getting that Hans device off, but let me tell you, when there is fire,
let's go.
You get out quick.
Everybody watch out for him now, whoever's coming around the racetrack. What in the world? We got a ruptured fuel line?
Jerry Marquis very quickly out of that car. Safe. Doesn't seem to be hurt at all.
Marquis coming up off the corner.
Oh, my gosh.
Just like Rogelio Lopez earlier.
He finished 4th in this race back in 1998. Jerry Marquis, who made a big name for himself in the modified series up in New England. You say Jerry Marquis and you're a race fan, you know who he is.
Oh, absolutely. And it looked again like a right front tire let go on that race car.
And Jerry Marquis, a veteran driver, let me tell you, he knows how to get out of that car. He didn't waste any time. Ryan Moore, 21 years young, is the leader here in the NBNA. Race points 150. Andy Santerre right behind him. And it's Sean Case, Tim Andrews, and Ted Christopher, your top 5. We've stopped the race on lap 137 while we clean up an accident involving Jerry Marquis. And we'll be back with the finish here in just a moment from Dover International Speedway.
This is Bob. Bob is doing well. Very well indeed. That's because not long ago, with just a quick phone call, Bob realized that he could have something better in his life. And what did he get? Why, a big boost of confidence, a little more self-esteem, and a very happy missus at home.
Call now for an Enzyte trial and ask how to get 3 months absolutely free. Enzyte, the once-a-day tablet for natural male enhancement. This is Bob. Bob is looking cool. And with a call to Enzyte about natural male enhancement, Bob is living large. In a few short weeks, Bob has a big new spring of confidence. A generous swelling of pride. And the one thing every man deserves, a little well-earned respect from the neighborhood. Call now for an Enzyte trial and ask how to get 3 months absolutely free. Enzyte, the once-a-day tablet for natural male enhancement.
Well, we will go green this time, and that's why they are doubling up. Santerre and Moore side by side, and right behind them, Sean Case in the 5. That's Tim Andrews in the 9. And then 35, the white car, that is Ted Christopher. And you heard from Matt Koboluk's crew chief a moment ago. He's in the 40 car. Safe to say that one of those cars will be the car that ends up in victory lane. And it's going to be a dark victory lane by the time we get there.
It won't matter for these guys. Whoever wins here and beats the monster, so to speak, will have a lot to celebrate here tonight. We're in the casino, a hotel, beautiful facility that they have here. Question is how smart are all these guys going to be on this restart? I'm not necessarily talking about the front row. Got a couple of rookies here in the back, or in the second row. Let's see how they do.
Yeah, let's hope for a clean restart as we get ready to go back under green. Green flag is out, 10 laps to go. And Moore and Santerre, just as we thought, side by side. Ryan Moore's strong, but Santerre's not giving an inch.
Andy got a nice run off that corner.
And Santerre inches ahead.
That's a lot of experience at work right there, trusting that I can go into that outside lane and make it stick, and he did.
Andy Santerre, now your leader, going for his second win of the season.
Ryan Moore's got to think right now, where can I best try to pass him?
Santerre has had a very consistent year. Another great day today, starting in the middle of the pack. Penalized. Back to the lead lap. And he's fought his way back. Now, Pat, you're Ryan Moore. You got to decide, where do you make your move?
And when do I make my move? You know, he can see that Andy's car washes up the racetrack a little bit off of 3 and 4. Then he holds a really good line just a little off the bottom down here in 1 and 2. You'll see it right there. And Andy backing the throttle hard right there. He's got his car working really well. Ryan has to be careful not to overheat these tires trying to work it, but he's only got a couple, 3 or 4 laps to make any kind of move that's going to be a winning move on the 44.
After taking the points lead at the Motor Mile in Virginia with a win, he's had 2 straight 5th place finishes. Oxford Plains and last week at New Hampshire, Andy Santerre in that 44. Consistency's been the name of his game. Hasn't been out of the top 10 all year. He's only been out of the top 5 once all season. That was a 9th place at Lake Erie.
Everybody will tell you, Mike, that one of the best places to pass somebody at Dover is up off of 2. We go into 1 right now with the leaders, and watch Ryan Moore. He gets a good run right here on the bottom, and he'll come right at Andy. Can't quite get it done, but he almost gets alongside there. In fact, he did continue his run. Looks like he may be at the bottom here when we go into 3.
Moore able to put that car down low, and he's able to draw alongside Santerre, but boy, Santerre just fights back on the outside.
What Andy's got to do now is try to get position and try to hold that 74 down a little bit, but his car washes up the racetrack again. But he runs that to his advantage, gets a good run off the corner.
That's a great job by Andy Santerre.
Yeah, it is.
Ryan Moore gave it a great run, and the question now is, does he have another one in him? Coming up on a lap car of Kip Stockwell.
It's going to be close. He's going to get another run here. Each time they go down in 1 and 2, that's where the 74 works the best on the bottom.
3 laps remain. Sean Case continues to run 3rd. Tim Andrews 4th. And Ryan Seaman has passed Ted Christopher, now running 5th.
Andy goes into 3 hard. His car washes up the racetrack. The 74 gets a good run, and man, that looked awful good right there. He may get to the bottom down here in 1.
2 to go now as they come off of turn 2 onto the back straightaway.
74 is just a little bit tight off of 2 right there. He checks him up. He may be able to pass him off and coming if he can get to the bottom here off 4 this time. Yeah, he's got a fender alongside this time. They're going to be door to door when they get through the start-finish line.
On the straightaway, though, Santerre not giving any at all. Now he kind of pinches Moore down a little bit. But Ryan hanging in there.
Oh, that's a good race. This is it. White flag lap right now.
On the back straightaway, this is going to be some finish. Hold on, folks.
Here we go.
Here they come on the front straightaway. Checkers out, and Santerre, I believe. It was close. I think it's Andy Santerre, and Ryan Moore was right there.
A bumper.
What a finish. Oh. And Sean Case, the youngster, finishes 3rd. Ryan Seaman 4th. Tim Andrews 5th. Well, you see Andy Santerre's crew. Congratulations all around. That's Andy's wife right there. She's excited. What a job today for Andy Santerre. Overcame a penalty. Started back in 14th.
And as much as you want to say Ryan Moore will be happy with 2nd, he's not going to be happy at all.
If Andy Santerre wins the championship, he may look back on this race as the key moment down the stretch. And a little burnout here. I think he deserves it.
together from every corner of the country. 70 of racing's fastest rising stars compete on one incredible weekend at Irwindale Speedway. National bragging rights are on the line, along with $500,000 in prize money. The NASCAR AutoZone Elite Division, the NASCAR Grand National Division, the 2005 NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown. Don't miss the qualifying races on November 11th. Then on November 12th, the stars will shine, only on Speed.
10 years rockin', 10 years rough, 10 years tough. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Back up to the wall he goes.
The last race was a door-crushing, paint-trading dash to the finish. Now the battle rages on in Texas. Who'll be the lone star at the Great American Speedway? The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, live from Texas. Silverado 350 tonight 9 Eastern, only on Speed.
At Dover International Speedway, and you see a big celebration getting ready to happen in Victory Lane. Andy Santerre is one happy driver. He has won the MBNA race points 150, and he has padded his points lead a little bit. What a performance he put on today. He's got some stuff in his eyes. I think Candace is trying to stay dry, but she's down there. Go ahead, Candace.
I sure was. I was taking refuge behind our cameraman. A rainstorm of Gatorade. Very exciting race out there, Andy. Of course, you did great on the restart. Really kept the momentum going. Tell us when you knew you had this one won.
Man, I thought we had it won early, but I messed up on pit road. Ran a little too fast down pit road. Put us to the back. I sped, and that was my fault. But I told him not to worry. We had an awesome Chevrolet here. The thing was awesome. And I said, we'll get back to the front. And when Ryan got up the front, I thought I was in trouble. I said, man, he's fast, and he decided to pass. And he's got one of them big DEI motors in that thing, and it runs. So, but I knew I was out handling him, and I knew I hit my only shot was that last restart. And I'm one out, but I give him all I had. And that was young versus old there. So, but Ryan drove me great. He's got a great career ahead of him, and just want to thank him and his team for being good sports. They running right up there with us in the points, and they let me go. He didn't dump me. So, awesome racing.
Tell us what was going through your mind as you were approaching the finish line, just a bumper in front of Ryan.
Boy, I didn't know whose race it was going to be. You know, he's got a lot of motor in that thing, and I knew if I was up on the high side, I might have some extra momentum, and that's how I passed him to start with. And I said, well, I'll let it drift up, get a run up off the corner, but he was right there, and I was real fortunate to beat him to the line. I want to thank Dennis Fisher. He did a great job, give me a good motor, and got a great car here, and this is only the third run. This is a flat track car. We ran it at Loudon last week and spent 3 days changing the front end over to come here to Dover, but she run real good. I'm real proud of the team, and hopefully we can go win this 4th championship. This is a good way to start it.
I tell you what, and once again, overcoming the adversity that's been dealt your way. Congratulations, Andy.
Well, thanks. This is a great day. You know, 3 weeks ago I was in the hospital down in the Carolinas getting back surgery, and to come back and run and win a race here at Dover, which is one of the toughest tracks we would ever run on. I feel real good right now. I'll be sore tomorrow, but who cares? I'm in Victory Lane at Dover, my first time. So.
That's right. You definitely dominated the monster today. Congratulations.
Thanks, Candace. All right.
All right. Yeah, he really was excited. He has a right to be. He beat the youngster today, and there are some great days ahead in Ryan Moore's racing career.
And no question about it, there's your finishing order there. Santerre, Moore, Sean Case, got a lot to be happy about. Ryan Seaman, as you just said, great run for him. Tim Andrews finished up in 5th. Teddy Christopher wins both races last week, bounces back for a 6th this week. Dale Cordeley won't be happy with 7th, but nevertheless a good top 10. Kovaluk, Stefanik, and Brett Thompson comes over from the west and finishes up in the 10th spot.
Great run for Brett, who came from out west. Brian Chu comes home 11th. Disappointing day today for some drivers like Jeff Anton and Tracy Gordon, who is 20th. You've been watching NASCAR Grand National North Series racing on Speed. I'm Mike Hogwood for Pat Patterson and Candace Kruger saying so long from Dover International Speedway.